What's up, Bonnet family? Mike Lindsley here for an ML Sports Take. It's all brought to you by Camillus Golf Club and Stumblin' Monkey Brewing Company. So if the Atlantic 10 wants the conference's version of the NFL, if it wants drama, high ratings, craziness, I mean, you go one place first, don't you? You go to Davidson and St. Bonaventure. I mean, the games that these two teams play are just absolutely amazing. Also, the second thing about this is that Davidson has been a nemesis, right, for the Bonnies. So you could tell right out of the chute that, the Bonnies wanted this game. The energy level was high. But I want to start kind of from the end of the game and then go backwards. And I'll be highlighting some things kind of in between as I go, as either memory, serves me, or I look at some play-by-play stuff. First of all, wild sequence at the end, in overtime. And let me quickly say that through the first half, it was 34-34, and I couldn't believe it. I thought Bonaventure played a lot better and that they should have been up by 4 to 8 points. I thought they controlled the rhythm and timing in the second half, and then in overtime, like, all bets are off. Once you go to OT, even if you're home, like, all bets are off in overtime. You just don't know what's going to happen. But the wildness at the end, you just could not make this stuff up, right? First of all, this was a heavyweight fight in overtime, right? I mean, it's 70 to 68 after the Kuchera layup. He had a great game. He's a great player. But then, like, Adams Woods scores to make it 71-70 with a three. And right then and there, I had the thought that I had basically the first the first two halves, which it was simply like, we have Mike Adams Woods and they don't. Like, I'm starting to really believe that Adams Woods is the best player on the Bonnies. And I know that that's superlative. You kind of have to check a lot of boxes in the all-around game and all the rest to actually, like, okay, best, how do you define best, right? A lot of times, like, all-time quarterback play, Tom Brady's the best quarterback. But is he? He's the most decorated for sure. He's the winningest. But then when you bring all the other stuff into it, not athleticism and, the freak talent, but like the intangibles and winning and the big throws and like the perfect stuff and the biggest stages and the most clutch, then all of a sudden, like, best will encompass like all of those things. And then people will say, well, he's the best. But, if you're most talented, probably not. Like, we kind of, like, what's best mean? Like, I think, really, Michael Jordan's the best player of all time in basketball, because he was not just the offensive guy. I mean, he was the all-around dude. I mean, think about the defensive first teams and all the rest. But neither here nor there, I just thought Mike Adams Woods. I'm thinking, my God, we've got this guy and they don't. I mean, he makes a huge three-pointer. He made huge free throws the entire game. And it went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Venning with a couple of huge free throws. Banks was big in the overtime with that big jump shot under a minute left, right? So they're going back and forth, and it's, once Banks made that and they're up 4, I'm like, this is just too good to be true, right? I mean, there's just no way that Bonaventure is going to just win this game by 5 or 6 now, right? With free throws no, something's going to happen. This is Davidson Bonaventure. And sure enough, the missed three by Kuchera, the offensive rebound, the turnover, then the Adams Woods turnover, which was brutal, off the Huffman steal, and then Durkin, bang, makes the three, and I'm like, yep, there it is. So then we have 36 seconds to go, which felt like at least 100 hours, right? Jan played great in this game, okay? He gets 2 free throws. He makes them both. Again, clutch free throws for the Bonnies in this game, late second, and of course in overtime. Again, Schmidt defenses and the free throws. Like, that's how they win games late. The free throw shooting, usually pretty good, right? So he makes the 2 free throws, and you're up 1. And then a great pass by Huffman to Kuchera, and it's 79-78. Okay? Then you have a foul on Huffman, and our guy goes to the free throw line, Adams Woods. And I'm like, he's going to nail him. And he does. Then you're up 3, and I'm just kind of getting ready for double OT. I don't know about everybody else. So then the play comes, and just wildness, right? Wildness. So Bailey misses the 3-point shot. Again, there's that guy again. Kuchera gets the offensive rebound. He goes back behind the line, nails the jump shot. Tremendous, tremendous play, and tremendous concentration. And to go back, body control, focus, making it in that tight of an area, in that arena, with those fans yelling. And we think he makes the 3, and he gets fouled. And you're like, oh my gosh. Bonaventure's going to lose this game because, you got fouled with a 3 and a free throw. That'll do it. And it looked like about 0.3, maybe 0.4 seconds were going to be on the clock. And not only do they review it and they say it's a 2, they review it and say that he didn't get fouled. And I believe it was Barry Evans who was covering him, if I'm not mistaken, which I was like, oh, wouldn't that be disappointing, by who I think has been really the best defender for St. Bona all year long. What was more crazy than that was the play-by-play guy. It was John Sedak. He comes back, and he literally goes, as they're inbounding the ball, he goes, oh, well, there's no foul, and the game is over. All right, let me quickly tell you how that works, okay? Because I work stats and freelance for ESPN, and I work a bunch of games at the Dome for men's and women's college basketball. They go to the monitor, and they look at their thing. They're supposed to go over to the broadcasters and literally explain to both the color guy and the play-by-play guy, and oftentimes if you see the camera and you're watching SU on TV and I'm there, maybe I'm on the camera. God, I hope not for your eyes, but if I am on, all of our headsets are down and we're like listening. Because I also want to get the information back up to my people. I'm talking to a bunch of different people. I'm doing stats for these guys. I'm talking to the control room locally and maybe somebody in Bristol or someone in Charlotte. And the game, every single game is different. But I'm telling you this right now. They're supposed to come over and tell you what happened. I don't know if the play-by-play guy didn't get it or if the refs just didn't tell him. Because they're supposed to give them all the information. In most cases, they're just reviewing one thing. In this case, they were reviewing 2 things. So think of it this way: a flagrant foul, a flagrant 1 or a flagrant 2, like an elbow up or whatever. That's totally different. Or like time on the clock. That's one thing. Flagrant foul. What kind of flagrant foul? That's one thing. Play out of bounds? That's one thing. Did the ball hit the rim? That's one thing. There were 2 things here: the shot from 3 or 2 and a foul or not a foul. I cannot believe that the broadcast went back on with the inbound play, and all of a sudden this dude goes, oh, and he apparently wasn't fouled, and the game is over. Wow. I mean, where did that get missed? I mean, again, did the ref give him all the information and then he just didn't say it? Did he give him information and he forgot to say it? Did he not give him the information at all? Or did he give him the information and then, like the information on the shot, that it was a 2, and then, did the broadcasters not say, oh, but what about the foul? Something happened to completely miss that. And so they go back on the broadcast. That is, wow. It's egregious, man. That's brutal stuff, really. I mean, because, again, they're supposed to come over and tell you all this. So I wanted to tell everybody there, how that whole thing works. At the end of the first half, 6 to 8 minutes in the second half, 12 minutes to go in the game, end of the second half, overtime, all the craziness. I kept saying to myself, now remember, I'm not emotionally invested. I want them to win. I want them to win every game. Make no mistake about it. But I'm just kind of like, okay, I want to see them get hot in, 2 weeks. That's literally where I'm at. And I'm like, it would be kind of nice to have this game, but they're going to blow this, aren't they? They're going to figure out a way to blow this because they should have really been up 7-8 points after, the first half. And then in the second half, the 6 to 8 minute stretch, where they really started to pick up the defense. And it was like, at back and forth, 9-0 run, 7-0 run, back and forth, each team, boom, boom, boom. And I thought one huge part of the game, I mean, it wasn't like the end all be all, but it was something. It wasn't everything, but it was something. It was in the second half when Davidson had just gone on, a run. And St. Bonaventure came right back. And there were a couple of threes that were made. Davidson went up 43-36, right? Way back when it was 36-34 after the Pride made free throws. I was trying to remember who was at the line, if it was the former Jan or Charles. Charles makes it 2 free throws. It's 36-34. Bonaventure is out of it. They can't score. They can't do anything. It's a 9-0 run from 18-19 in the game all the way to 15-07. So my quick math there is 312. Then Jan, the former Jan, makes a 3. And then the defensive rebound goes to the former Jan. He had a really nice game. And then Banks hits a three. Huge moment of the game. Huge. Bonnie gets right back within one. Enormous part of the game. And then from there, it was the Ali Frazier back and forth. I thought that part of the game was huge. Down the stretch, second half, some really nice defensive stops by Bonaventure. Really. How about Adams Woods, for God's sakes? They're tied. He goes to the line and makes 2 free throws. You're thinking right there, if Bonaventure gets it stopped, that's it. But then Huffman made the jumper. Banks missed a 3-point jumper. That bothered me too. I'm gonna mention this, and I'll hit the box score for a couple points, and I'll head out of here under 15 because I don't want to go too long. Bonaventure calls a timeout. All right, we hear over and over again. In fact, the broadcaster said it at least 300 times tonight. Mark Schmidt's playbook. Oh, all the offense. Mark Schmidt's playbook. All of them. Okay, we got it. We know that Mark Schmidt has a really big playbook. What is it really like? Is it like Andy Reid's offensive playbook with the Kansas City Chiefs? Is it like a Sean McVay playbook? Is it 100 plays inside a motion offense like Bobby Knight? I mean, how big is this playbook? Because if there are 200 to 300 plays in Mark Schmidt's playbook, what the hell was that play coming out of the timeout? Awful. I need to, and the color guy in this game, had mentioned it, and I was like, he's right. You got to go to the 10. And I understand the way Davidson defends, and I understand the way that, you kind of control the middle of the court, and they kind of want to push you out and force you into something. I don't care. Move a chess piece, right? Move your knight, move your rook, move your king, move your queen, move your pawn. Do something. Move something. Move your bishop. Trick them. To get that shot, Kentucky's playing well, by the way. To get that shot from way back there to win the game, you don't need a 3. It was horrible. Horrible. It's a tie game. If you drive to the 10, you're getting a higher percentage shot probably, and you have the opportunity to get fouled. And this team makes free throws when it counts. I don't care if it's Banks, the former Jan. I don't care if it's Charles. I don't care if it's Micah. I don't care who the hell it is. They make free throws when it matters. Venning, this team makes free throws. So what on God's earth is that? Coming out of the timeout, you have 28 seconds to play with. 28. Not 3, not 5, not 6.5. 28 seconds. And they did that? He got pushed, like he maybe a little bit of it was a push out, but once you see that, you adjust. Just start moving. Pass and move. You have almost a half a minute. Whew. Frustrating. Box score time. Really, I think Mike Adams Woods has just established himself. I mean, he controlled the whole second half tempo-wise for St. Bonaventure. He was absolutely unbelievable. Making shots, the offense in the half court, defensively, he was outstanding. Scored 14 points. It felt like a little bit more than that. He did have 4 turnovers. I get it. But I think a couple of those were kind of Davidson related and maybe people missing their spots and all that. I know he only shot 3 of 10. I get that. But boy, it was 5 assists, man. I mean, if you watch him handle and manage the offense, he has a couple bad turnovers every game. Again, I think he had a couple bad ones here and then a couple that maybe were either the offense was out of sorts or Davidson kind of created something with, there is an opponent on the other side. He makes so many big passes, so many big plays, so many big shots, so many big free throws. He was great. And, he got to the line. I mean, 7 of his 8 free throws went in, and half of his points were from the line. And, without his free throws, they just don't win that game. So he was outstanding. Double figures, 15, 15, 15 for Pride, for Venning, and for Isemvis. Just an outstanding, again, by Jan game where he hit those 2 threes. I mean, they were clutch threes, especially after, as I mentioned earlier, giving up that 9-0 run. Bonaventure shot the ball pretty well in this game. I mean, again, they're kind of getting hot from the floor because they're passing, they're moving. Really good shot selection, 56.5%. Tonight, again, Daryl Banks, here's the thing. He has frustrated everybody, including me, okay? But he has it in him, just like this team has it in them, to roll the ball out in Brooklyn and win the whole thing. They have it in them. And if they have it in them in that way, if they can get hot in that way and roll off wins and everybody's contributing, late free throws, late defensive stops, winning 78-73, but also winning 63-60, winning in different ways, defense, offense, free throws. If they can, rebounding has got to be there, be a lot better, especially on the defensive side of the floor, right? They only got 4 offensive rebounds tonight. That was awful. I'm going to go past 15 minutes. I just looked. Unbelievable. But if it all comes together, make no mistake about it, that if they have it in them and they get hot, Daryl Banks has to be a part of this. He's been on the biggest stage. He's performed and scored at will against Kentucky. He has to be a part of this. He's too good of a shooter. Yeah, he might be streaky. He's too talented of a player. He is just, I mean, when he makes his shots and when he gets in the rhythm of the offense and he's just point blank to the rim, you feel good. It's too much of this on the outside. But he had 10 tonight, and they were huge points. He pulled down 6 huge boards tonight. Huge boards. Bonaventure's guards can hit the glass. They got a key 8 points in 15 minutes out of Brown. Tremendous effort out of Brown. Defensively, I thought all the guys came off the bench and played well. Barry Evans included, as he has been. So, this was a game that, again, high drama. Bonaventure 3-point shots. He went 6 of 15. They somehow missed 7 free throws. Wow, I thought they only missed like 3 or 4, but they missed 7. Defensive rebounding, they got. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say earlier that their defensive rebounding has to get better? Well, I still do think it has to get a little bit better. But I mixed and matched that, and my mind is kind of fried. I've had a head cold the last couple of days. I just can't shake. That's not an excuse. That was an error on my part. They do need to get better, though, defensive rebounding. In fact, you saw that in the final seconds of this game, and really a couple of stretches in the second half, too, where the defensive rebounding, long rebounds and all that, like they got to get those. They got to get more of them. But the offensive rebounding was also because I mentioned that with 4. I just lumped them together and made a mistake. But the defensive rebounding, they got 22, and that's 3 more than what Davidson got. But Davidson had 11 offensive rebounds to 4, and so total they out-rebounded Bonnie by, only 4. But Bonaventure got away with it. Each team had 14 assists. Bonnie had 9 steals to 6. Turnovers were 13 Bonner, 14 Davidson, so that was kind of close as well. This was just a close game. These teams are evenly matched every single time. They shoot daggers. They make dramatic plays. Something always happens towards the end. There's always an overtime or 2 or 3. So this was just a really, really awesome, fun, great basketball game. And college basketball full of runs. It was at the RC. You got to love the atmosphere. Bonaventure pulled it out. And again, you're hoping here that, they can start stringing and going and going and going and going. Both teams had 32 points in the paint. 18 fouls for Bonner, 21 for Davidson. By the way, that's where I'll end. 2 quick little things to end. I thought the game tightened up defensively by both teams in the second half, and because of that, the refs didn't reward them for tightening up and playing better defense. They didn't reward them at all. They penalized them by calling ticky-tack fouls. How about that one play where the Davidson player falls down and Pride doesn't even do anything? They call a foul on him. Those that was garbage. So you reward players for tightening up defense and improving your game. You don't penalize them by calling phantom fouls. That was ridiculous, right? And then the other thing that I'll say too is, I'm liking the way the Bonnies are on the break right now. The points are what they are, 11 points to 5 on the fast break. They won the battle, but it's the way they look on the break, finding the open man. There's nothing more exciting in basketball or hockey when you have a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1, right? Like you got to know when to pass the ball. You got to finish strong. The fast break is very, very, it might seem to the outsider like an easy situation, an easy, productive result all the time, but it's not always like that. And Davidson is a good defensive team when they want to be. They make smart plays. They're kind of an IQ team. They always have been, going back to Steph Curry. I like the way Bonaventure can get in transition now, and they're finishing better on the break. That is something to really look forward to if they can get on some kind of a roll here. And again, I think they're going to lose at least one road game coming up because that's just the way the season has gone. But here we are now, right? They've won 2 in a row. They've won 3 of 4. Now they go on the road for 2. I think they're going to split. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think they're going to split with LaSalle and UMass. And then in that last 3-game stretch, that's what I'm talking about here with Loyola at G-Dubs and St. Louis at home. Can they get rolling? Kind of how they have here the last 2 games, 3 out of 4, but even more. Add another layer of rolling, timing, rhythm, patience, rotation, players, consistency, all that kind of stuff. Can they put it together for 40 minutes over and over and over again like a tournament? Mike Lindsley with you here. It's all brought to you by this ML Sports Take. That is by Stumbling Monkey Brewing Company and Camillus Golf Club. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And as I always tell you, enjoy the games.